Yeah, alright, my flow sinister. This ain't rap music, this straight literature. Small-minded nigga, all your ideas miniature. They tend to hate on you when they can't get rid of you. I ain't going nowhere, 20-year career minimum. Call Hit Boy for beats, ask for 10 of them. I don't follow trends, my nigga, I swing the pendulum. If the bitch bag a dick shit, I'm gon' give her some.
Lil' tune, flow sinister, I'm a finisher. Many men gon' need ministers, I'm a men in them. Enemies, I'm the enema, I'ma shit on them. Just like my keys, drop my genitals. On a dinner work, my thoughts I keep confidential. It's consequential, philosophies unidentical. I'm not into ya, my Siamese brother Benjamin. That's how I stick to him, these diamond bees, all BBs. I call them Vivica, skating underneath a bridge. Stay hustling as it is, make money, feed the kids. Ain't nothing in the fridge, wake up, repeat the sins. 8 blunts, I need a 10, stay muddy to the lid. 800, eat a dick.
Yeah, alright, my flow sinister.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 35, our Around the League edition. I am your co-host, Reggie.
I'm your co-host, Norwood. And I'm still thrilled and I'm still living on the high of Georgia losing horribly in the SEC championship. Everyone, let's soak it up. Let's enjoy these moments. Tell people that.
Yeah, man. As you know, in our ATL edition that came out on Tuesday, Norwood has been relishing in the fact that he gets to talk so much trash about Georgia football, and he definitely gets to do it today because on the Around the League edition, we'll not only talk about NFL football, talk about college football. We also talk about HBCU news around the culture, NBA news, and our splashes of the week. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our favorite segment, HBCU news around the culture. Got a couple topics we're going to talk about today, mainly being the Celebration Bowl between South Carolina State and Jackson State. But first, I want to talk about something that happened in basketball between Arkansas Pine Bluff and Iowa State University. Arkansas Pine Bluff was what we call in the HBCU culture, playing a money game to go up there and get stomped out by a Division I school. And yes, they were getting beat. They were getting beat bad. I think they ended up losing by like 23 points. But a minute into the second half, Arkansas Pine Bluff's coach, Solomon Bozeman, first-year coach from Arkansas Pine Bluff, coach, called a timeout and made his team run suicides in the game. I immediately got furious, but I want to hear your take before I go off on a little rant.
Okay. So for me, I feel like if you have a coach who's going to have you run suicides during the game, you already know that this guy's capable of doing this. This is not like a surprise. He's
a first-year coach.
Yes, this is like when you're siblings and you tell your brother or your sister, hey, man, your dad in there wilding. You know what it is. You already prepared for whatever is going to happen. This is no different. Now, I also think that I number one think that he should not have done this. This is going to be televised. It's going to be picked up by the national media. And here we are, the Splash Cast talking about it. But what that also means is coaches, and I would assume this guy is relatively intelligent. He knows that this is all, he knows this too. So this is an opportunity for him to market himself as being one of those tough-nosed, hard grindstone coaches who make their players, go the extra mile. So when you go into different people's homes and recruit, you can say, hey, you can send your son here. I don't care where we are. We're going to do things right. And I don't know if that works in this era, but it sounds good.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and say I disagree with everything you just said. Ain't no way in hell as a first-year coach, there's none of those players knew unless they went and looked at film of him wherever he came from. And he's done this before. There's no way in hell that they knew that in one of the first games of the season under a first-year head coach that he was going to make them run suicides. And this is how much he embarrassed them. He didn't do it at Arkansas Pine Bluff gym. He did it at Iowa State's gym. He was on the road. So you embarrassed me in front of everybody else. You embarrass me in public? Absolutely not. I don't care if you're a first-year coach, second-year coach, whatever, and you're trying to establish that you're a tough-nosed coach and all of that. You think you would send your child there to be publicly embarrassed and shamed? It's not like somebody in the stadium just took a video and sent
It's
it.
a suicide.
Fox, the network of during the game though, dog. You're humiliating your players. That's not the
I
act of
agree.
it isn't bad. The act of running suicides isn't bad. They're world-class athletes in shape. It's the fact that you are showing bad leadership.
I do think it's poor timing. I 100%. I will give it to you. Definitely poor timing.
Would you send your kid there?
I kind of like stuff like that. So yeah, but I mean, you also, I'm one of those people who you have to set boundaries. As a player, I think that you guys probably need to have that conversation with your coach and, tell them how you feel. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're a coach. You're supposed to be a leader of men. You're supposed to grow these guys. So, yeah, you can set a boundary and be like, yeah, I don't support this. This is how it made me feel. But at the same time, I think that we need a little bit more of that. And
you think he's gonna be receptive to that? You think a hard-nosed coach that makes you run at halftime, makes you run during the game, is gonna be receptive to you saying, "I don't like the way that you're treating me"?
I think that if you're going to be that, I'm a proponent of exactly that. If you're going to coach me that hard, then you need to be that receptive to the things that I say. And if you can't do one, then you sure as hell can't do the other.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll just agree to disagree. He's a fool. He's not a fool. I hope he does well, and I hope he learns from this. And I do hope that they have an open dialogue relationship to where they could talk like that about how that makes them feel and how you embarrass me and how now that's going to be on the internet forever. But whatever.
That is true. That is very true.
Oh man, I'm getting all these notifications, man. Monday is like sports news day. But moving on. Now we're gonna talk about the Celebration Bowl. It is going to feature South Carolina State University, the Bulldogs with the marching 101, versus Jackson State, the Sonic Boom of the South, who is the SWAC, Southwestern Athletic Conference champion, and Jackson State being the Mideastern Athletic Conference champion. Gonna be a good game. South Carolina State started kind of rough. They lost to Alabama A&M and FAMU back to back. Started out 0-4.
Recover.
Yeah, I mean, it's won 5 straight to win the MEAC, went undefeated in the MEAC and won, beating Norfolk State, who was actually in the driver's seat until the end of the season.
That's scary when you play a team that knows what it's like to be a loser and then get on that heater. Once you have everything in sync, those are tough teams to beat. I do hope that Dion, I hope you got a game plan, big dog.
Yeah, man. Because, folks sleep on South Carolina State because it's not as well known today because of different reasons. But South Carolina State has put in many athletes into the league, including Darius Leonard, who is right now the best linebacker in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Or is regarded as one. They also have put in multiple defensive linemen. Yeah, they've also put in multiple defensive linemen. They've put in Hall of Famers. I think the most famous one is Deacon Jones, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they had Robert Porsche back in the day too.
Robert Porsche. Yeah, a lot of people. So South Carolina State they want to play with, and they got a few pro prospects on their team now. And of course, Dion ain't nothing to play with either. He's got the money flowing, the enthusiasm going, the optimism is flowing as well. They are the SWAC champions. They went undefeated in the SWAC. Went 11-1. The only loss they had was to Texas Tech. So
you should have saw today where he posted on Instagram talking about my name is now Cody.
Coach of the year. Coach of the year.
I'm like, damn, man. Every time he got a saying, he got something well thought and branded ready.
Yeah.
Once again, the man don't fail.
Nope.
Don't fail.
And Jackson State's defense will be on display. I think they have like a top 5 defense in Division II or the FCS. I'm sorry, and they also have a top 2 defense in the SWAC going against South Carolina State, whose passing game has caught fire the last 5 games on this winning streak. So it's going to be a good game. It's going to be good versus good. It's December 18th at 1 p.m. in the Atlanta Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So make sure if you are in town, I think are you here on the 18th? I can't hear you.
Get there until the 24th, maybe 25th.
Yeah. Well, you'll miss it, but I'll be there. I'll probably go to that game and see him. And of course, everybody's waiting on the Battle of the Band. So, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Southern University. Let me pull up the article real quick. Southern University went out and hired the coach that Deion beat in the SWAC championship. Deion was in the SWAC East division. Jackson State went 11-1, but they played Prairie View A&M from the SWAC West, who has been steadily building that program over the last 2 or 3 years. Their coach, Eric Dooley, has now been hired away by Southern University to come back to his alma mater and be the head coach. Southern, a lot of the alumni wanted Southern to go ahead and get somebody like Marshall Faulk, Ed Reed, somebody that's from New Orleans that wants to put in work. Well, Ed Reed is at FAMU, doesn't have any coaching experience, and I think Marshall Faulk has limited coaching experience. And Southern ain't got that Barstool sports money like Deion and them got. All that stuff, that Under Armour, Barstool Sports, Aflac money, Southern ain't got that. So
I mean, that's how you get it. You got to start somewhere. Deion just came with a bag already.
Yeah, Deion came with a bag. So with Deion coming with a bag, you don't have to pay him a bag per se. Southern ain't got that. You don't have to pay Ed Reed, Marshall Faulk. I mean, I think Ed Reed is getting paid. Well, there are some Division I coaches that they were going after that they wanted, that the alumni wanted, especially one that from LSU, who's from Baton Rouge. But he was making $750,000 as an analyst, or as an assistant coach. Why would he take a pay cut to come to $200,000 or something? It wasn't in the budget. So I think this is a good hire. One is he's from Baton Rouge. He played at Southern, and for y'all that are Southern alum and y'all know the glory days, he coached under Pete Richardson for like 10 years. Pete Richardson is the great coach at Southern, the most winningest coach at Southern. Has won multiple SWAC championships, multiple Bayou Classics. He was known for being the late Eddie Robinson's rival later in his career, as well as Doug Williams' rival. So he comes from good stock. And Southern, and I'm going to get off this. I'm going to let you say something about it. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. But Southern's coach, Southern is not the university that's going to try to get somebody that's going to leave in 5 to 7 years. They want somebody that has ties to the school that's going to stay for 20. Pete Richardson was there for like 15. Like a lot of black schools coaches, FAMU, Bethune-Cookman, Jackson State, South Carolina State, Hampton. I don't know about Howard. Hampton. All of those coaches normally are there for like 20 plus years. So when they're there that long, it builds recruiting. So I like this hire. A lot of people don't. It is what it is, man. Tell me your thoughts.
I 100% agree. I think it was a great move. And anytime you can go back to your alma mater, you want to win one for the home team. But also, I missed something earlier. I wanted to make sure that we talked about it. I did read where Deion's name, and you know how they've been floating him out in a bunch of these other schools, but Colorado State confirmed that they were reaching out, kicking the tires, and wanted to know if he was available. And of course, he wasn't. Another name that was on this list was Charles Huff, former Hampton football player. He now coaches Marshall. And, you know, anytime you have these guys who are either coaching at a HBCU or HBCU products to be in the same conversation and looked at it by Power Fives, that's a big move. Hopefully that comes with big bags and big success. Kudos to both guys.
Kudos, man. Kudos. So this is going to be the SWAC. If Deion stays like he said he would, I mean, he said he's going to stay 5 years. I don't know, because right now you go 11-1 and barely lose to Texas Tech, almost go undefeated, and you have a really good recruiting class coming in, and now you're connecting with the transfer portal players, and HBCUs are starting to follow suit. Man, I don't know if he'll stay, but if he stays, HBCU sports is going to hit another gear, which is funny. You're going to go back in time to hit another gear, because back in the 70s and 60s, the HBCU football could rival the big schools.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of our HBCU Around the Culture segment. Talked about Dion and Pine Bluff and how I would never run suicides during the game. I don't care how bad we're getting beat. That being said, man, if you don't have anything else, Norwood, let's get to football so you can gloat.
Yeah, before we close out, though, anytime we bring them high, we need to remind them that we beat them last time we played. Y'all be safe.
Most of the time we played. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 35, the Around the League edition. We are now into our football segment where we have some news we want to talk about with the NFL. Going to kind of go over our picks from our Saturday Splashcast live edition where we talked about, we previewed the upcoming games this week. So now we're going to see how we did. We're also going to talk about a Cowboys fan that fumbled, a Washington football fan that got denied, and some kids in Tampa Bay actually called Tom Brady and he picked up. Then we'll go on to college football. With that being said, man, Norwood, tell me about this Cowboys fan that fumbled the proposal.
Yes, brother. Nico Valdez, come on down. My man decided to go to the most romantic place in the world and propose to his fiance. Not a nice restaurant, not a beautiful city. Jerry World, the Dallas Cowboys football stadium. In true Dallas Cowboy fan fashion, he decided to get on one knee. And just like a Dallas Cowboy and their fans, what did he do in the moment that was most important? He blew it. Dropped the ring. Took him like an hour to find. They're outside at some waterfall thing at the stadium. And you just blew it. And I hate to say it, but I don't know if y'all are really starting on the right foot. And ma'am, I might have to reassess the man that you're signing up to be with for the rest of your life. Now, I do wish you guys nothing but a long, fruitful marriage and wonderful, children and big ass house and all of that. But yeah, if you fumble the ring at Jerry World, oh, you sound like Tony Romo. Damn, my bad.
So, I mean, luckily he did find it, and when he found
it,
she
somebody would have died if I didn't find that ring.
She did say yes, and he had people there who were filming it, so they all looked for it and helped him find the ring. So, shout out to him, man. Tom Brady, I keep saying this. It's like redemption Tom in terms of his likability now that he's left New England. Tom Brady seems like he can really do no wrong, except when he plays the Falcons, because then he gets disrespectful. But everything else that he does is likable. Some kids accidentally FaceTime Tom Brady, and he answered and made their day. That is, go ahead.
Actually, I think it was Bunting who they called.
Bunting?
Okay, yes, I can't remember the guy's whole name. So what happens is in the story, these are all teammates, and their coach told them basically, hey, you guys need to put together a text group. When they put together the text group, somebody clearly had a wrong number. So once they start texting, the player texts back, hey, you know who this is? And they're like, yeah, it's our teammate. He's like, no, I'm Bunny. I play for the Buccaneers. He's like, the kids don't believe him. So he FaceTimes the kids. And then they're like, oh, this is really him. So then he goes and around the locker room. He shows them Gronk. And then they're getting a little aggressive now because, hey, man, we got this guy on the line. Let's go for it. And they say they want to speak to Tom. And I guess Tom wasn't available, but Tom ends up calling them back. It's a super dope story. And overall, it's just
so that's
where does that happen?
He called that's what it was. That's what it was. He called him back, which is what made it cool. That was the part I forgot. Tom actually was like, "Oh, I missed it." Came and called them back and made their day, man. Like
life.
So shout out to Tom. We still hate you when you play us, but man, you are making it really difficult to hate you as a person.
I don't hate you at all, Tom. Touchdown, Tom. I'm a fan. Reggie hates you. I wish you could have probably let the Falcons get that Super Bowl, big dog. But I'm team TB12. You can judge me if you want to. I don't care. I do not care.
Yeah.
Do not
So
care.
moving on to the Washington football team. The Washington football fans, when they were playing, who were they playing? Seattle?
Yes, Seattle versus Washington.
Last week, and
your boy Gerald Everett. No, Gerald Everett. He scored, rushed to him a touchdown, and very similar to most places like the Lambeau Elite. What do you want to do? You want to jump into the stands. Well, Gerald makes a break for it, hops up there, and there's a Washington football fan who probably needs a tryout. Blocked him immediately. Like, nah, we're gonna do a lot of things, but what you're not gonna do is get up here and show out. Not over here. And it was excellent, and I loved it. And we need more of this. And if you're willing to jump up there, if they push you back, hey, that's a part of the game.
He was pass blocking much better than they did, but
much better than the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, that's true too. So, it was funny. I saw it. I was just like, yo, did they just push him out? But they got a lot of pride, so I mean,
that's like when the opposing team hits a home run at your stadium, throw the ball back. You're not celebrating this foolishness.
True. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to review these games rather quickly. We're not going to go in depth, just some of the things that caught our eyes. Right now, the Patriots and Bills are locked in a slobber knocker of a baseball game at 11-7.
Oh boy said a slobber knocker of a baseball. I do not want to watch this game at all.
Only I feel like only New England would mess around and get to a 11-7 game in the third quarter, no less, not the first. 11-7. They're gonna win this game off of that. Well, this is the kind of game that they win.
Mac Jones has only thrown the ball one time in the first half. Belichick makes it very clear what his intentions are and what his game plan is.
And it makes it a genius, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And no, I'm gonna tell you what I can do about it. It's no way you're gonna run the ball every play versus me for a whole half. Not a chance.
Well, to me, it seems like they just did. And as I told you, if they win this game, they will then be 6-0 away from home. They will be 9-4, and with the Ravens, we'll get to them later, losing, they will be number 1 in the AFC. The New England Patriots.
1 of 1 for 12 yards. You know what? I forgot about it. It's snowing and it's windy.
I'm watching the game right now. There is no snow on the field.
No, there's never going to be snow on the field now. You see all the things that they have to make sure that there's none of that. There's no more of those old school Buffalo days. But with that said, yeah, the wind is blowing pretty hard. He's actually playing it safe, especially if you have a quarterback who doesn't really have the strongest arm. He's not have any control of the ball out there. So
yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a weak arm, but I see he doesn't have a Josh Allen arm.
Yeah, he don't have a throwing Buffalo arm.
Yeah, Josh Allen actually just kind of injured himself. But it looks like the Patriots may end up being first place in the AFC, which would be crazy.
Wow.
So then starting, it is what it is. I told you. It's going to be frustrating. And Tom is going to play till he's 50.
Out 50,000. He will end up being Raiden. Play football in a new multiverse.
So then last Thursday, this weekend kicked off with the Cowboys and the Aints, which was supposed to be a really, really good game. But then Jameis Winston got hurt, and the Aints decided to re-up on Taysom Hill with a fluffy contract of nothingness. And they had to justify re-upping on him. You don't re-up on somebody and renew their contract and not let them play. So they let him start the game, and he looked atrocious.
Speaking of people in the wrong multiverse, Taysom Hill, you were stealing so good. You was getting paid and not being good at any position. They could not count on you to do one single thing. Then they asked you to actually play quarterback. This is when you should have injured yourself. You should have Nancy Kerrigan yourself so that nobody else.
It's not funny because he's had like 4 ACL injuries, but that is funny.
What? The injury was we saw you play quarterback, and I'm gonna tell you that is awful.
Yeah.
If you're a quarterback right now, anywhere, you're a better quarterback than Taysom Hill. You know how little I think of Scam Newton. Scam Newton could have put together a better game than what Taysom Hill did.
Taysom Hill threw 4 interceptions, y'all. 4 interceptions.
I could get out there and play a better football game. What is his quarterback rating? 28.3?
44.2. No, 28.3.
Yes. You are going back. You got to take this class again in the summer, big dog. This is not it. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You threw 4 interceptions and 2 touchdowns. And I assume both of those to be miracles. Oh, that one was still a Jordan Humphrey. I like that dude.
Taysom Hill better hope Sean Payton never leaves the Aints, because I can tell you one of the first people that be cut for the new regime.
Oh no! if you think that they justify keeping this guy on the roster another year, no, what you gonna play outside linebacker or something? I'm gonna tell you what room you don't ever need to be in is the quarterback's room. When the quarterbacks go meet, you need to go have lunch. You need to go to the weight room. I don't know, power clean, whatever you do. When the quarterbacks are talking, you need to what they call shut the fuck up, because you are not one, not now, not ever. You're a scam artist. You are Leonardo DiCaprio. Catch me if you can, and we finally caught you.
I'm going to let that. I was going to say something, but that was a wonderful way to end that. So, scam. We'll move on from scammy. Cowboys won 27-17. I mean, there was no way they could lose because they got 4 interceptions.
I think they still lost letting them score 17 points against a guy who was completely inept at quarterback. And somehow Andy Dalton still managed to play worse.
Yep. And we already talked about the Bucs and the Falcons. Now we're going to get to the Cardinals and the Bears, where Andy Dalton looks just as bad as we thought he was. They are who we thought they were. Throwback to
They are who we thought they were. And I just want to take a moment. I've actually picked both of these games right so far. I knew that the Bucs were going to stomp us out. I
picked the Falcons. We lost. It is what it is.
And then I picked the Bears to lose. And what did the Bears do? They lost. And what did I say? Andy Dalton was going to play like himself. And guess who he dressed up and played like?
Himself.
His goddamn self.
The Red Rifle. Also, for y'all that didn't get that we are who they thought they were, there's a whole lot of funny things in that. Dennis Green used to be the coach of the Cardinals when they played the Bears, when they blew that lead in the playoffs. And just go look up we are who they thought they were. It's pretty funny. Kyler Murray was back. Kyler Murray disrespected the Cardinals. I think he scored on like the second play of the game.
Trae Young, same person.
Just in different sports. Ain't nothing you can do.
No. I think they're actually the same person. They're the same size, same human. They both went to the same college. I'm telling you, they like Plies and MC Hammer.
Yep. So the Cardinals are actually 10-2 and 7-0 away from home, and they'll probably end up getting a home field advantage. Moving on, the Chargers smoked the Bengals' boots. The Bengals just destroyed the Steelers. Cardinals came in there. Justin Herbert had 317 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Eckler had a touchdown. T. Higgins for the Bengals went off with 9 catches for 138 yards and a touchdown. But the Chargers played lights out in the second half on defense.
Merriman jokes because of BDs. With that said, shout out to the Bengals. The one time that I picked them to win, what do? They lose. If I don't pick the Bengals, they score 100 points. I'm counting on you guys to do any small thing. You trick it off. Congratulations. You played me. I deserved it. You knew better than do that.
Yep. Shout out to the Hawks. Looks like they're going to close this one out as well. We needed this win. The Chargers and the Bengals. The Chargers scored 24 straight points before the Bengals came back. and scored 13 before half, and then got blown out in the fourth quarter. So, moving on, I can't believe it, Shawty. I can't believe it. The Lions beat the Vikings.
My fault. It's 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 not your fault. It's my fault. And you just assumed that, yeah, it's the Lions. If I can guarantee one thing that for sure is gonna happen, Lions gonna lose. Soon as I said Lions gonna lose, Mike over there hugged up with his girlfriend. Zim over there not paying attention.
I was like, wait, what?
Supermodel got his head gone. He ain't coaching no more. And you allowed Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions to win a game, and not just win a game, to win it on a game-winning touchdown as time expired. There's not
without their best player. DeAndre Swift didn't play. He had that shoulder injury from Thanksgiving. They lost to
best player on Detroit Lions is a very relative term. If there's ever been a term that's relative, it's that one. But yeah, they did it, and I'm actually excited, man. I think that Jared Goff, while I don't think he's a very good quarterback, I do think that he got a super raw deal, and I've been wanting to see him win something because
100%. He definitely
getting sent from LA. Nobody ever wants to leave LA and be sent to Detroit. That is just an unfortunate string of events. Nobody deserves that. And for that to happen, yeah, you needed this more.
He needed to win, man. He was being blamed. He was also being blamed for the reason they didn't win the Super Bowl and everything. And they traded, and they still are in the exact same position that they were in with him. So this is a little bit of this is a little bit of a vindication for him to get a win this week. Moving on, man. Moving on real quick. In the game nobody cares about, the Dolphins beat the Giants 20-9. Saquon Barkley had 11 carries for 55 yards. Tua had 30 of 41 for 244 yards. 30 of 41. 8 yards a pass for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's simple, man.
That dinking and dunking right there.
And David Gettleman, you are getting closer and closer to what? Getting fired. That boy had 0 points in the first quarter and field goal that thing out, boy, for the rest of the game. You're not doing anything against a team that's not even good.
Gave that team false hope. That's the crazy.
Oh, the Giants goodness. Are awful. You know what?
Bad.
As bad as the Giants are, I feel, you know what? I'm not going to say I think the F-Birds are better because they'll show themselves to be worse. They'll find a way. If anybody committed to proving me wrong, it's the Falcons.
Well, moving on, man. Gardner Minshew replaced Jalen Hurts, who was hurt, and came in and engineered a win again. It was against the Jets. So that's a lot of pie right there, too. But they won 33-18 on the road, and he throws 2 touchdown passes to Gobert, and the Eagles went over the Jets, threw for 250 yards. Miles Sanders, a very underrated back, 24 for 120. Go ahead.
This is another game that I picked right. I also want to go back and make sure that I let y'all know I also picked the Dolphins game correct. I'm on a little bit of a heater, maybe. I think I picked right.
Picked that game wrong and that game wrong.
Okay, so out of the maybe 16 games, I picked 2 wrong so far. Relax.
You haven't gone through 16. We've only gone through 6.
Oh, out of this. Okay, I'm still. All right, I'm 4 out of. I'm 4 out of 6. I got a couple more wins down this. And
goodness.
Now this, I will tell you, this next game is the struggle of living in Houston. It is a fantastic city, but unfortunately, you are linked to having to watch Texans football. And then, for some odd reason, the other Fox game they wouldn't even play. So there's literally only one football game on, and it's Colts versus Texans. And I'd rather paint my apartment than watch the Texans play football.
I will say this is the skimpy part of the schedule. Right, that what we had today, slate of games. Colts-Texans. Colts won 31-0. They didn't really do anything great. They just whooped their butts. Carson
beat
Wentz
Florida
16 to
Atlantic.
22. Carson Wentz 16 to 22, 158 yards, a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor. I wanted the Falcons to draft him when he drafted the second round, and we wouldn't get him. 32 carries, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's looking like a monster out there. So next we have Washington football team versus the
Las Vegas Racists.
Las Vegas Racists, 17-15 in a game we don't care about.
Hey,
I did not know Washington was 6-6 and the Raiders were 6-6.
I picked this game too. And some told me do not believe in Las Vegas. And I went with Washington. And,
You picked Taylor Heineke. You said Beer Man delivers. And I picked the Raiders. I picked the Raiders at home.
Well, it's tough being right all the time, but somebody got to do it. And that's what I specialize in doing here at the Splashcast.
Jaguars Rams 37-7. The Rams, I think we all picked that. OBJ finally got another touchdown. Matt Stafford 26-38. Oh, he did? Yeah, he did get 2.
Score and did the self-revive.
Did the self-revive for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
OBJ is funny. Matt Stafford 26-38, 300 yards. And
slump buster.
Yeah.
I call this slump buster.
Yep. All right. In a game that we were both wrong, after coming off a 41-10 drubbing by the Bengals, the Steelers go back home and upset the Ravens 20-19 in another game in which Lamar Jackson had some terrible passes, some bad decision making. He was 23 of 37 for 253 yards, but he threw a couple costly he threw one bad interception that I did see. He also had some bad throws and bad decision making throughout the game.
Jack,
but even with that though, they allowed 17 points in the fourth quarter to the Steelers. That defense can't do that. They also lost their cornerback Humphrey for the season too. So
that's a fact. It wasn't a good. I'm not saying it wasn't a good game, but we went into the fourth quarter with the lead. Just get us home. That's you can't to the Steelers. You definitely can't give them no damn 17 points in the fourth.
Yeah, you was up 19-3 and you lost that game. Moving on. The Seahawks upset the 49ers. That's another one we got wrong.
This
I can't believe.
This is the point where the teacher fold up your test and hand it to you.
Yeah, I can't believe that this happened.
I mean,
and the difference in the game was the fake punt. The fake punt that went for 75 yards and a touchdown was the first touchdown of the game, and that is the difference in the game.
And Pete Carroll, special teams coach.
He was fired up too. Fired up. That was against Richard Sherman too. Richard Sherman's with Tampa Bay.
And on the injured reserve. So he's basically he's Rajon Rondo 2.0.
Yeah. But that was an interesting game, man. What are the 49ers doing with Trey Lance? Is he hurt? Are they just saying he's not it?
He's hurt. Wow.
They're in
and some
rock in a hard place.
Yes, and Jimmy G is gonna go somewhere and see that's the type
don't,
of guy.
Don't you say it. Don't you say it. Okay.
Yeah,
don't you say it.
You knew what I was thinking. That's the type of guy who may be associated with a team that some people call the F-Birds because
let me tell you something. We about to get off the rails here. I would be furious. Let me adjust the microphone real quick. Y'all better not go sign Jimmy G for that ridiculous contract that he has.
Mostly
he about to stealing. If y'all sign Jimmy G, I probably won't watch. I'm gonna turn into a fair weather Falcon fan. I'll watch again in 4 years when y'all decide to turn over the whole roster again, and then I might come back. Y'all better not sign for the same way 77. You was out there, and you.
He who shall not be named.
Jimmy G, stay your ass over there, or go to Houston.
Well, you know what? I actually.
Or Broncos. The Broncos are probably taking.
No. Well,
nobody commits to Teddy Bridgewater. They're scared his knee's gonna blow up again.
But his knee hasn't been an issue since his knee was an issue. Eventually, you have to be like, all right, well, the man's healed. He
Do
doesn't
you?
have.
Not as a black quarterback, but we're not gonna get into race.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, next year Jimmy G's contract is $24 million, but after that he's an unrestricted free agent, and the dead cap is only $1.4 million. Oh, but
I didn't know that. Let's come on to the Falcons stopgap placeholder. Come on.
I mean, no matter what, I take a year. I take a year flyer on.
That's what I'm saying. Stopgap placeholder. Come on, because ain't nobody coming out. Yeah, ain't nobody coming out that's like just a world beater, except for the dude for Pittsburgh. Like, come on, and then maybe by that time the Deshaun Watson case will be resolved, and we can get him for still. Nah, we already said our blank ain't doing that. But
oh no. We only the Falcons will have one problematic quarterback for the rest of this franchise's entirety. Mike Vick has ruined it for everybody.
Yep.
With nobody going on a field trip.
Nah. And then the Broncos beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs beat the Broncos. Started out hot. I thought the Chiefs were back, like they were about to go up 39-0 or something. And then they petered out. They scored 10 real quick. And they scored 10 real quick and then only scored 3 in the next 2 quarters. And then they ended up getting 9 in the fourth to put the game away. But I mean, they still have a lot of flaws, man, especially offensively.
But they started to win games. You see that 8-4. It don't matter what you look like as long as you keep winning. Another team,
especially in the AFC West. Who's in the West? The Broncos, Chiefs, the Raiders, and Chargers. I don't believe in the Patriots not one bit, but they keep winning games. Eventually, you're just gonna win enough that somebody else gonna have to beat us. And right now, it can't happen. So that is the weekend in review. Norwood picked better games than I did. I think he had one more better pick than me.
You should be used.
No, 2. Yeah, 2. Yeah, 2. No, you're crazy. 2.
We gonna see next week.
The Falcons let me down, and I picked the Raiders, and because they were the home team. So, yes, Saturday, live. We're gonna do it live with the Splashcast on Saturday on Instagram. Make sure y'all tune in, 10:30 Eastern time.
Yeah.
Moving on now. Go ahead.
You can watch me pick more career games than Reggie per the usual. And speaking of Reggie picking teams that are going to play poorly, go ahead, my friend. This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
So this past Saturday was Championship Saturday, where we had a bunch of college football championship games. The ACC, which nobody cared about. I think we picked Pittsburgh. We both got that right. Big 10 was Michigan. Big 12, you took Oklahoma State, and I took Baylor.
Okay. I didn't know that the quarterback wasn't going to play. If you watched the live, I specifically said quarterback has a hamstring issue. I didn't.
You talked me into picking Oklahoma State because you said the quarterback has a hamstring issue. You suck. I changed my pick. You suck a mother blankety blank.
Is that how you refer to your team?
And then Cincinnati held serve by Bear. Now, they did not beat Houston convincingly, and that will come up later in the topic we talk about going into the playoffs. But now what Norwood has been waiting on. Georgia played Alabama in the de facto national championship, as Norwood likes to call it, the SEC championship game. If Georgia had won, they would have eliminated Alabama from college football playoff contention. They were the number 1 team with a historic defense and went 12-0, undefeated in the SEC. Alabama was supposedly having a down year after getting upset by A&M, which is on the wild crazy. They got upset by 3 points on the road against a ranked team. They was like, oh, they're having a down year. Well, Bama showed up. As Nick Saban said, y'all fed us some rat poisoning this year that was yummy. You doubted us, and our players wanted respect, and they, from the second quarter on, beat Georgia like a drum. Georgia went up 10-0, and I said in the live, I said, Georgia's going to start out hot. I said, but this is what they do, and they can't make the mistakes after they start out hot to win the game. And what did they do? Made literally every mistake that I laid out, all 4 of them. Stetson Bennett played horribly. Stetson Bennett played horribly. Stetson Bennett played horribly.
Say it one
Nick
more time for the
Saban,
people in the back.
Nick Saban and Bill O'Brien exposed the one weakness I said Georgia had with the strong safety. We're playing a walk-on strong safety and a walk-on wide receiver and a walk-on quarterback. And then Alabama's offensive line controlled the pass rush of Georgia and picked up every blitz that we had. So Bama smoked Georgia's boots, and now Bama is in the college football playoffs again, to the much chagrin of literally everybody else. They are now ranked number 1. Michigan is now number 2, like still holds third. Georgia falls to number 3, and Cincinnati is number 4. Norwood, did you watch Championship Saturday? Since I've laid it out, go ahead.
I watched. I did. I watched. I enjoyed. I was filled with emotion. But more than anything, it was to be expected.
Georgia. You picked Georgia. What do you mean it's to be expected?
And that's what happens. This is just another iteration of the multiverse, where the one time that I think that Georgia's going to do what they're supposed to do, what do? They blow it. Since last time they did not blow it was 1980. Subsequently, every year since then, they find a way to lose. And that's what they did one more time. And I believed in the defense. I don't know if Nick Saban had the defense kidnapped and they had to play some other people. I don't know if Bama was on PEDs, but those guys who Georgia rolled out there on that defense looked nothing like any team I had seen all season. You know, Reggie was in here quoting stats, talking about on average, they give up less than a touchdown a game. And then
they gave up 24 points in the second quarter.
They was giving up touchdowns like Oprah was giving out cars. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. Lad McConkey was being himself.
I know he played. Yeah, no. Second half, they shut him down. Him and Stetson.
Stetson is the hot flaming bag of garbage that I said he was since day one. He looks like a punter. He's a guy who will eventually own a car dealership in Athens, Georgia. But one thing he won't have is we know he won't have an SEC championship. Now we're going to see if he has a national championship. And I know JT Daniels got to be in that quarterback room, like
Stewart. So
man, full prompt pie. But hold on, we're not done yet. I'm not done assaulting how terrible your team is.
We are 33 minutes in, man.
And I'm knee deep right now. Let me tell you, because you guys really believe this was y'all year. You had one game. All you had to do was beat Bama one time, and then you would have played with the island of the misfit toys. All the sorry ass fake teams
Notre Dame
that we know are not legit. You would have had to deal with Notre Dame.
Cincinnati and Michigan would have been there.
Cincinnati and Michigan. That's it. You could have walked in. Stetson Bennett could probably start for all of those teams, because you know what? None of them are good. Not a single one of them. But what did y'all do? Y'all screwed the pooch. You want to know why?
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one right there.
Oh, you know, sometimes I'd be feeling like Wayne and the bars just come right off the dome. Yeah, that was a bad place for y'all to be the dome.
All right, man. I've been literally 35 minutes. No, come on, man.
I've been waiting all season for this.
So with that being said, the reason Reggie isn't as upset as he is that Georgia did make the college football playoffs, being ranked the number 3 team, and they will play Michigan in the first round. Hopefully, beat Michigan, who dominated Iowa, 35-6. No, I'm sorry, 42-6. And then
let's go blue.
Alabama will play Cincinnati in the first round as well. And I'm
hold on, wait. I think if you may or may not know that I am a firm believer in the Lord. We serve Christianity and Jesus Christ over here at the Norwood House. And with that said, one of my favorite gospel songs is Order My Steps. And Cincinnati has had their steps ordered. Y'all been faking and scamming all season. You are going to meet your maker when y'all play again. Lace them up, strap them up, because Nick Saban is going to knock y'all face off. And I hope that they score 1,000 points on y'all and let y'all know to never bring this bullshit here to real football teams ever again. Y'all pack it up. Wildcats, Bearcats, whatever it is, and don't you come back here again. Nick, I don't want to root for Alabama, but I have to root for integrity. I have to root for things being right and correct and some level of morality here. And Cincinnati has scammed their way to a playoff game. How and why? This is everything that's wrong in the world right now. This is the reason we have global warming. This is probably how COVID-19 started. All of that said, I hope Nick Saban do what needs to be done.
All right, man. So, do you think the College Football Playoff Committee got it right by putting Georgia at 3 instead of Cincinnati at 3?
Had to. Yeah, you have to. Cincinnati's schedule is awful. Georgia was the best team in the country until they
played Bama.
No, until they pulled to Georgia. It's still more Georgia than Bama. But with that said, no, you would set and then you would have basically a back-to-back. You're gonna have Georgia, and we just saw the national championship is clearly the SEC championship. So you're gonna play that game and then make them play again? No. At the end of the day, they want to make sure that they get it right, but money is still in the back of everybody's mind. And if you make Georgia and Bama play again and you eliminate one of those guys, there's no reason to watch any more of it.
So you're saying you don't want Bama and Georgia to play in the national championship?
Yes.
Oh, but you do?
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh.
Alliance football and a lot worse. I don't even put Cincinnati in alliance football. They're in a whole different realm of not playing teams that matter.
But it seems like Michigan is the forgotten one out of this 4 because everybody's talking about Alabama and Georgia, and then if Cincinnati should have beaten Notre Dame, even though they beat Notre Dame, and that's the reason they got in. It seems like Michigan is the one, and Jim Harbaugh is saving his career 1 win at a time at Michigan, so saving his job. So that'll be a good game, man.
I tell y'all who better not forget is you. Y'all mess around and forget about Michigan, y'all gonna get punched in the mouth, and this season will go from being one of y'all best seasons to one of your most heartbreaking seasons. And I will dance in the street.
I will say that's the only positive I could see from the loss to Alabama is now I don't think Michigan will creep up on us. I don't. Now it's gonna be a good game because Michigan Hutchinson, their 2 defensive ends are insane.
But you can neutralize those two. Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, but if you can neutralize those two, then maybe neutralize Michigan because they're a physical team. If you can neutralize their ends, and you got to be able to run the ball. That's it. Hopefully, Bama didn't, basically give the blueprint on how to beat them.
See what you did. Go blueprint, Blues Clues.
So moving on, man. Let's talk about a whole bunch of coaches that have moved around for the teams that aren't in the playoffs. The teams whose seasons are pretty much over. We already talked about one of the teams, Florida, hiring Billy Napier. Another team was Oklahoma. Oklahoma was beaten by Oklahoma State, and Lincoln Riley came out and took the job with USC. Nobody liked it from Oklahoma. They said he came in there crying and told him cut the shit because we know this is all BS. Now they've gone and hired Brent Venables, who is the storied defensive coordinator over the Dabo Swinney era at Clemson, who is a great defensive coach. He's the one that neutralized Bama's great offense. He also is a great recruiter. And going down there to Oklahoma, there's a lot of photo recruiting. Everybody can't go to Texas schools that's good in Texas. It's just too many people, and they get a lot of them. And he has ties to the East Coast and especially the Atlanta area by recruiting for Clemson for so long, which is a hotbed of talent. And he has ties to North Carolina. So Lincoln Riley went to USC. They got Brent Venables, man. What does that mean for Oklahoma, USC, and what does that mean for Clemson?
Before we get into that, I want to make sure that people understand about this DeMarco Murray and Lincoln Riley story. Lincoln comes in. Apparently, he has a face full of crocodile tears. DeMarco Murray says, "Hey, man, cut the shit." Shout out to DeMarco Murray for keeping it real. We also know that Lincoln Riley probably had this deal in the works for weeks, if not months. And then for him to cowardly blame it on his family and say, "I did it for them," you are what we call a damn lie. But it's a good job. You should just say, "Hey, man, this is a better job in a better city with more money and more amenities," and nobody would have had an issue. But you get up there fake crying like a toddler, and nobody's gonna believe you.
Yeah, man, you can't. There's a way to me. There's a way that you are supposed to take another job, especially in the world of college football, where in the playoff era, everybody's your competitor, right? So for you to leave without saying anything to anyone, I mean, and it's obvious he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything to the coaches, to the players, because all of the players, there's been like 5 or 6 transfers. He also didn't say anything to the recruits because they had like a number 2 recruiting class, I think number 1 recruiting class in the class of 2023. And now they've lost all of those recruits. So Brent Venables is going to have his work cut out for him. But, you know, it is what it is.
Well, number one.
Oh, go ahead.
They also said that, you know, because he had been recruiting people to come to Oklahoma the whole time. When he switched, he has this post. And you know how every year coaches have like this specific saying that they're going to say to get their team riled up. Mm-hmm. He didn't change his. So I see that like on Twitter, the kids like, damn, he just said the same thing to me 2 weeks ago.
The exact same thing.
Right, do not.
So the thing is
low class.
So the thing is, you get all these players are getting all of this flack for entering the transfer portal, for leaving and going somewhere else, and people not understanding. But nobody is saying anything to these coaches. Brian Kelly left for LSU, and they still were in the playoff hunt. Lincoln Riley was just out recruiting 2 weeks ago, and telling lies.
They say that boy Brian Kelly he said, "I'm gonna meet with all my players at 7 a.m." They said the meeting concluded at 7-11. Crazy.
So, and honestly, I think Oklahoma would probably have a harder time hanging on to recruits than Notre Dame because Notre Dame sells itself, right?
Yeah, but I do think that Venable going to Oklahoma, playing in a conference where there is no defense, if he can get a defense and keep an offense, he is going to make it very difficult for everybody else. And that should allow him to constantly stay in the playoff conversation.
No, because they go to the SEC.
Oh, I forgot about this small caveat.
They are going to be in a division with Alabama, Auburn, Texas A&M, and LSU in Texas.
They are about to get stomped out like 3 6 Mafia tried to do Busy Bone. My God,
they may put Missouri over there and give Auburn to the East. I can see that happening.
I don't hate that.
It'll happen, but I don't want to get down that road. So what does that mean for Clemson, man? I think Clemson's run might be over. I
said that earlier today. Clemson was notorious for Clemsoning for a long time, and they had a small period where they were legitimate, and they might just be back to being extra regular again. And
because Venables might take the offensive coordinator from Clemson to Oklahoma.
Yeah, and DJ Ukulele played like one this season, and they are not looking like who they used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, but moving on. Other news, other coaches, we already said Notre Dame now has a black coach, Mr. Marcus Freeman, who
For
has had
now.
a meteoric rise. He's had
For
a
now.
meteoric rise in coaching. He started as the defensive coach for Cincinnati. Then he took the job as the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, and then Brian Kelly abruptly leaves, and they embrace him because he has been recruiting very well since he's been at Notre Dame. Shout out to him, man. I hope he does well out there at Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman, black man in Notre Dame, really don't mix.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, you should probably reach out to this guy. His name is Tyrone Willingham. He'll be able to tell you how this is gonna go. I would assume not great. If I was you, I'd just keep an updated resume, just in case. Because at any point where you not bad, just mediocre, with a bunch of mediocre players. Because let's be real, Notre Dame's team never really that good.
Tyron Williams players, they went like 11-2 when he got fired. Like
no. I'm talking about since he left.
I mean, they've been to the college football playoffs a couple times.
Yeah,
they went to the national championship game.
And then what happened there?
I mean, they got mollywop every time.
Okay, all right. So,
every time.
Yeah, they kind of like y'all when you get to the dance, then every time, screwed.
So,
and they're gonna fire him. If you're not great, they're gonna fire you, big dog.
Yeah, don't worry. You on a 2-year plan out there, brother.
You on a year and a half. You're on probation. Hey, I started out on probation.
Unless somebody from the pros becomes available and they'll try to spin the story as, oh, we just couldn't pass him up, then they'll give him 2 years. If that, not even gonna entertain that. Moving on, man. Moving on.
You don't think that they'll entertain it?
No, I know they will, but I already don't like Notre Dame as it is now. Man.
Ooh, I'd have found a soft spot over there, boy.
I'd say a whole lot of sacrilegious stuff to them, boy. Like it'd be bad. But moving on, man. The last big domino to fall was Miami stealing Mario Cristobal from Oregon. Oregon was 1 game away from making it into the 2 games away from making it into the college football playoffs. And they lost. And all of a sudden, Oregon goes from having one of the hottest coaches in the league, top 5 recruiting class, to losing their coach to Miami. And Miami then fires Manny Diaz, who's the defensive coach, who, similar to South Carolina's former coach, Will Muschamp, Florida's former coach, Will Muschamp, is a defensive-minded coach who had no offense. So it was a very good recruiter. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Mario Cristobal going to Miami. Some of the fallout of that is Kayvon Thibodeau, which really wasn't fallout. He was going to leave anyway. Who's the number 1 prospect.
3 minutes down. He was definitely getting out of there.
So he's leaving. He's not entered the league, man. What you think about this? What does this change anything for Miami? I think it does, because now we know Clemson ain't great. There's a changing of the guard in the ACC, and I actually don't know who it is.
I don't think that there ain't no guard. It's just a gate and it's open. Come in here if you want to. Everybody is Duke and Wake Forest now. Bunch of, I'm not even going to say mid. It's just more Alliance football. Now, I will say that day one, when Manny Diaz got hired, I have a bunch of friends who are Hurricanes fans. I said, that dude is going to get fired. On day one, I said, he will not be here long. And sure enough, he's going to greener pastures. If I'm Chip Kelly, though, I'm trying to get back to Oregon.
Chip Kelly.
Yes, he's the head coach of
UCLA. UCLA. He probably, I don't know. Didn't he leave with under some allegations or something? He won't go back.
What? Man, if Oregon could get back to Chip Kelly and Chip Kelly could get back to Chip Kelly, I think everybody will forget whatever happened back when it happened.
Yeah. So, man, these coaches are playing musical chairs. One thing that I have noticed, and this is the final point I'll say, is it seems like the coaching contracts have been reset again. All of these coaches are not getting $15 million a year. Most of them are getting 10 years, $100 million contracts. the coaches. So
All of
it
these
seems like they're
guys-
making all the money.
All these guys getting these 10-year, $100 million contracts. Do any of them have championships?
Saban. Literally the only one. And he didn't even sign a 10. He just signed another 3-year extension.
He ain't got no contract.
He quit.
He got something written in parchment and blood. That's it.
Yep. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us for our football segment, man. This was 50 minutes, but we had a lot to talk about, and Norwood went on a 5-minute bender about how bad UGA is. So moving on, man. Stay with it. Stay tuned as we get into our Around the League edition of our basketball segment. We're going to talk about Duncan Robinson getting paid all of this money to be trash. And we got some plays of the week. Stay tuned.
Yes. And with that said, you knew that Georgia was going to trick it off, just like they've done every year since 1980. Thank you guys for once again proving me right. Y'all be safe.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get into our basketball segment of episode 35 of the Splashcast, the Around the League edition. We were going to do plays of the week, but Anthony Edwards' dunk was so crazy that pretty much is it. So,
John Collins caught another body, or maybe two.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Catch a Body, John Collins, has just been mollywopping people. I think he caught a body against the 76ers and the Hornets. So,
Yes, they did, and y'all need to stop. If y'all see him under the rim, you should be somewhere else, or it's going to be bad and worse.
Bad news for you. So we're actually going to get into bring back one of our first segments we talked about, where we talked about players that are stealing. We got one person on the list today. We actually couldn't figure out how he got a 6-year, $90 million contract extension. Duncan Robinson had a game last week that was 0, 0, 0, 0, 23 minutes played. He made no impact on the game at all. He just was out there taking up air.
No, what he was actually doing, one of my friends brought this up, was he was imitating Pine Bluff when they was playing at Iowa State. He was just running suicides, but instead of doing it during the timeout, he was just running suicides the whole game.
Well, he got a good cardiovascular workout.
This is great, fellas. I had a good time. Got my heart rate up. Feeling good about myself.
If I'm Jimmy Butler, I'm mad as hell if I see you in the locker room and say, "Oh man, I'm tired. Let me go take a shower." Shut up. You didn't do anything. You can go home and get in the bed just as you are. You're not dirty. You went out there. You got the equivalent of the clean jersey. Like ain't nothing out there.
No. Effort. That was cross country practice. Just run the whole time.
Soccer practice at a black school. Like just out there just for fun. You want to kick the ball? Come play. Like
all linebackers on the soccer team.
Oh man, running as fast as they can. But yeah, Duncan Robinson is trash, just to let y'all know. And we told you this, especially Norwood. Norwood was adamant. I said he's a specialist, but it's
what?
Also, the Bills just lost to the Patriots. So
I mean, no, I like teams, specifically teams in our conference, paying people who are not very good at basketball large sums of money to play basketball on their team. Now, if I'm Tyler Hero, I'm looking at Duncan Robinson like, I need my money, big dog. You have my money. I want it back.
Yeah, they got to do something because he ain't even trade bait right now. So
you better off drop him in the ocean somewhere in Miami. Fish bait, trade bait.
But moving on, man.
Who want him on that team?
Moving on, man. The Rockets are on a 6-game winning streak. They won again tonight. I don't know what happened down there. You're more plugged in with the Houston sports nightlife than I am because you live in Houston. What has been happening on this 6-game winning streak?
Houston has players that are good. I tell people that all the time. Right now, They're only 2K good. But number one, Christian Wood is very good and nobody's paying attention to it.
He is balling.
But he's been balling. Ever since he got down there, he's been about 20 and 10 on most nights. And they still got Kevin Porter Jr., they got Jalen. They're putting pieces together. Now, of course, John Wall is the ex-girlfriend who you have no business with, who gonna text you up because I think he sees the potential now. He wants to play. And
John Wall is child support after that you have to pay because you signed the birth certificate, even though the child ain't yours.
It's $44 million worth of child support too.
To a child that's not yours because he's not playing and he doesn't want to be there. So you are paying for a child that's not yours. But go ahead. Hope I didn't struck a nerve with anybody.
And if it did, walk it off, big dog. I can't say that. That's rude.
Yeah, I had a follow-up joke for it. I was like, ooh, that was a good one. Nah.
Why you gonna let me step out there on that limb by myself? Boy, you ain't shit, Reggie. But with that said, I do think that Houston can have a bright future. I do think from what I've seen that Christian Wood might be trade bait and he might be able to get a 2-for-1. I would like that.
But who would he go to? Well, there's a lot of places he would go. Who would trade 2-for-1 for him? New York?
No, they got their big. They got Mitchell Robinson. They got Julius. They don't really have space for another big. I mean, I guess. Well, I don't know what their second would be. You have to give me something to take Mitchell Robinson back, which is just a.
Not a lot of teams have a lot of assets unless he were to go to Portland, which doesn't really.
I take him.
Doesn't. Yeah, I'm sure Dame will, but what they gonna give up?
No. I would take him as the Atlanta Hawks.
And give up who?
I'd give him Capella and a guy.
So then we wouldn't have a true center because he's what 6'9".
Yeah, but we don't have to have a true center if you can have a guy who can get you 20 and 10 and Collins who can get you 20 and 10.
Because you got to play defense.
Yes, but he plays enough defense. He's a good enough rim protector between him and Collins, and they can both shoot the three. So instead of, Clint basically just standing in the post the whole time, we could really move the ball. Our defense would go down, but our offense would go up. Now, do you want to make your strength a strength at the risk of losing defense? We got to see what Capella does and if John Collins is going to continue to play this level of defense.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really see that happening. I don't think you get him unless you give up John Collins, which you're not willing to do. But that's a discussion that's a discussion for another day, man. Moving on. Shout out to the Rockets 6-game winning streak, man. Something to build on. Moving on, man. Steph Curry, he 23 threes away from the record. And he's shooting them. First of all, he's on a better pace. He's on a pace to break the single season record that he already owns. Then he's also on pace to break the all-time record by like next week. He might have had like 5 today.
Clay is not back. I don't know what Golden State has done over there. I don't know if they got the pit of Lazarus and they've risen Steph and then they brought. Why is Otto Porter good at basketball again? It's been so long since Otto Porter has done anything of any value. And here he is looking like a damn near rookie again. Juan Toscano Anderson looks like a dog. Jordan Poole looks like a user-created player. I don't understand it. There's no Wiseman and there's no Clay, and they still got it.
Well, I mean, that lends to coaching and culture, right? When you have a good system that's well taught, well run, and you have the main staples, Draymond Green, Steph, and Clay. Even if without Clay, they've been missing Clay for a while.
He ain't Clay for 2 years. Clay gone, but they got Wiggins playing defense.
So you're missing those staples, and Wiggins has been stepping up. Now it's plug and play, and they're getting other players back. People forget about Wiseman, man. They just need a big body. Forget about Wiseman, and they're going to be in trouble, man. So the Warriors just ended the Suns undefeated undefeated November, no loss November, as Devin Booker would say. They literally lost the first day of December. The
Prime
Suns
coming before fall.
Yep. So the Warriors beat the Suns, and they are number one in the West now, and they are playing out of this world. So, finally, and lastly, this whole LeBron James stuff. I know y'all have heard it before. The false positive, the getting mad, saying something is fishy after he did the monkey nuts dance, after hitting a 3 against Indiana, after getting those people kicked out. Like,
Never should be celebrating Indiana, bro.
so especially as a Lakers, like y'all supposed to be coming out of the West. Like,
Reggie
but
Miller is not over there. I mean, he's over there, but he's calling the game.
so the Lakers, man, LeBron is upset. His monkey nuts dance, I had no problem with him celebrating. Like, I mean, he was upset. Obviously, he's going to be disrespectful because everything that was going on. But it is what it is. Like, if you don't want him to celebrate, stop him.
You know how we say, hey, if you don't like it, beat him. If you can't beat him, shut up. I will say that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said the GOATs don't dance. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think they're some of the greatest of all time. They've been great dancers, specifically Deion Sanders. But with that said, I don't care. LeBron, I mean, I don't think you should be celebrating these W's against these teams that are awful, considering you GM this team and you guys are supposed to be, you know, championship contenders. You shouldn't be excited about beating the Pacers on a Wednesday.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they
What? Your team is so bad.
Y'all are bad, man. So, but other than that, man, it was that was pretty much the interesting things in basketball this week. It looks like it is starting to heat up in league play, especially in conference play. A lot of these games are now starting to have meanings between Eastern Conference division foes and conference foes. So Eastern and Western Conference foes. So hopefully we'll have some more news to talk about, especially hopefully the Hawks winning and making a push.
On tonight, baby. We won tonight.
What else you got, man? If not, man, let's go ahead and get to the splashes of the week.
Oh, yeah, that's another versus. Candace Parker versus Gino Auriemma. That was the real versus.
Ooh, yes, sir. All right, man, let's get into it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our final segment of the Around the League edition of episode 35 of the Splash Cast. We're going to talk about the splashes of the week. We got 2 topics we're going to talk about today. I think I'm going to go ahead and talk about Scottie Barnes taking a tumble up there in Toronto first before we get to the smoke that is Candace Parker and Gino Auriemma. Scottie Barnes right now is probably a top 3 NBA rookie in the league right now. He is balling both offensively and defensively. He is actually being known right now and establishing his reputation as a defensive player. He locked KD up. He's locked up just about everybody he's played, or at least been very competitive against him. He's very coordinated, has quick feet, and a good shot. And he has a good set shot. He has good foot placement and everything. Where he doesn't have good foot placement is running out of the tunnel, because he took a fall and tripped over what I called nothing, just the floor. And it was pretty funny, man. Did you see it?
Oh, did I see it? And I'm talking about it's the confidence when you leading out, because you're like, all right, it's right before the game. Here I go. And boom, he hit that thing and the ground talking him. You hate to see it.
Yeah, and when you lead the team out, some teams it doesn't matter. Yeah, some teams it don't matter. Some teams it does. He's clearly like a top 2 player on that team. And I mean, because some would say Pascal Siakam, whatever, but he's making a claim right now to be the most all-around player on that team. But he took that L. He took that L today, boy. And it is the thing about the internet. I said it earlier. Is there forever. It goes nowhere, and it's on TMZ. TMZ has everything. So, but it was a funny moment, and Scottie Barnes is out here balling, and he's playing well. and he's loved by the crowd, and the crowd loves him. When it comes to a relationship where there is no love lost, Candace Parker actually sat down with Taylor Rooks last week and had a very candid discussion. It was very good. If you have a chance, go back and watch that entire interview. But what we're going to focus on is something that everybody kind of asked. Candace Parker is multiple-time champion, multiple-time national champion, MVPs, commentator. Like, she excelled, one of the people that just excels at everything she does, right? Nobody has noticed that she hasn't been on the USA basketball team, huh? The women's basketball team.
Except for Taylor. Taylor clearly, and before we get into this, I want to shout out to Taylor for being an excellent journalist here. You know, I don't know that I've really heard specifically that many WNBA interviews that have been more than just like your surface level. How do you think the season is going? What do you guys think you're going to do type of stuff? No, her and Candace Parker pulled no punches. Candace Parker was very blunt. She's very straightforward. And this is one that when I saw this, I stopped what I was doing and I listened to the whole Gino conversation. And it was very interesting. She said she has no relationship with USA basketball at all, which is
at
crazy
all.
because she is one of the best women's basketball players in WNBA history. And to say that she has no relationship with WNBA, and to also say that none of her children will ever have anything to do with USA basketball is
big talk. That's big talk.
That's a pause for concern if you're USA basketball.
And USA women's basketball has been coached by Gino for the longest. And of course, there are only a few players and coaches that had Gino's number. The one player that really had Gino Auriemma's number, especially early in his career, was Candace Parker and Pat Summitt at Tennessee. She never lost to Gino.
Beat said him. That specifically.
She said every year.
He never beat me.
Said that every year. And maybe she ain't one to shy down, so she probably let him know. Whereas she's older, so he gets to make a whole lot of excuses not to have one of the best players on the team. But clearly, it is definitely some personal feelings. And now she's to the point where, like, she's just like, as long as y'all keep hiring him, I will never play for USA basketball, which is crazy.
And she's too good to not be on the team. And when you have these, like, all right, like, for instance, I hate to go back to the Hawks, but Trey and John Collins, clearly USA basketball blew it on that one. Jerry Colangelo. You just made a poor decision. But it's a little bit more, it's okay. Whatever it is, it happened. But this is clear and utter beef. There's no way around it. She said he don't like me and I don't like him. And that is, I didn't know that it was this deep. I thought it was just.
I didn't either. I thought it was just surface level, Josh type thing. But
no, this is real beef. I don't like that human at all. Him,
like,
Gino.
If we were the same sex, we probably would have fought.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that's the vibes I get, because she didn't smile. She cut that black mother side eye a couple times. Like,
it was not a Kiki heard in that room.
It was a pin drop, and then she had her. Taylor Rooks was out there, backing her up, like yeah, and I was like, ooh, Gino. So Gino has yet to respond, that I've seen. So it'll be interesting. He can't. He's smart. This is something that he would lose. There's no winning this.
Oh, he's already lost. No. There's not only no winning. He's already lost the battle because she said it. She said, I want nothing to do with USA basketball. And then she just won a championship.
And an MVP. So, no, she didn't win an MVP, but she did win a championship. So, with that being said, man, I hope. Actually, I don't hope, because it's already, that ship has sailed. Well, I hope USA women's basketball continues to flourish, and I hope Candace Parker continues to flourish. I'm going to leave it at that.
Has sailed like the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Except for they knew where they were going. Like,
Ish.
No, not them. I'm talking about Candace Parker's shit. She said, I'm going away from there. That's
Yeah.
where I'm going away from. So,
Got me some
but with
milk.
with that being said, man, Norwood, if you don't have anything else, man, take us out.
Man, this has been another excellent episode. This has probably been one of my favorite episodes. But you know why it's been my favorite episode? Because your team blew it when we knew that they would again. With that said, please, more Black baseball. Nah, not yet. Let's go over it one more time. Tuesday, the ATL edition will be out. You should have already heard it because this is Thursday. Wednesday, Splashcast 12 pack. I'll be sprinkling a little bit of Christmas music here. Then now we're in December, and then this will be on your docket on Thursday. We want to thank you guys for listening. Number one, more Black baseball. Number two, more Black cowboys and cowgirls. Number three, love your HBCU, the one that you graduated from, and the one that's in your neighborhood. And just like you pay your tithes, send some money over there to your HBCUs. Thoughts and prayers to the F-Birds. We hope that the Falcons turn it around and the Braves are still your World Series championship.
World Series champions.
Also, remember, whatever you got to do, take a little bit of time and you make sure that y'all pay Freddie Freeman. We didn't forget. You thought I forgot.
Pay
I never did. Never did.
Freddie. Pay Freddie.
And with that said, you could have been anywhere else in the world. You came and kicked it with me and Reggie. We are eternally grateful. There's only one thing left for us to do now. What's that, Reg? Hang out.
Hang out.
We out of here. Y'all be safe. Adios, mi amigos. Hug your loved ones.
Peace. Love y'all.
How about them dogs?
Yeah.
How about them dogs? How about them dogs? How about them dogs?
Yeah, alright, my flow sinister. This ain't rap music, this straight literature. Small-minded nigga, all your ideas miniature. They tend to hate on you when they can't get rid of you. I ain't going nowhere, 20-year career minimum. Call Hit Boy for beats, ask for 10 of them. I don't follow trends, my nigga, I swing the pendulum. If the bitch bag of dick shit, I'm gon' give her some.
Lil tune, flow sinister. I'ma finish him. Many men gon' need ministers. I ain't mending them. Enemies, I'm the enema. I'ma shit on them just like my keys drop my genitals. On a dinner work, my thoughts I keep confidential. It's consequential. Philosophies unidentical. I'm not into you. My Siamese brother Benjamin. That's how I stick to him. These diamond bees, all BBs. I call them Vivica. Skating underneath a bridge. Stay hustling as it is. Make money, feed the kids. Ain't nothing in the fridge. Wake up, repeat the sins. 8 blunts, I need a 10. Stay muddy to the lid. 800, eat a dick.
Yeah, alright, my flow sinister. This ain't rap music, this straight literature. Small-minded nigga, all your ideas miniature. They tend to hate on you when they can't get rid of you. I ain't going nowhere, 20-year career minimum. Call Hit Boy for beats, ask for 10 of them. I don't follow trends, my nigga, I swing the pendulum. If the bitch bag of dick shit, I'm gon' give her some.